Hello, and welcome to Homeownership, Section 4, Lesson 1, Culminating Writing Task, Thesis Statement. Today you will begin looking at the 5 subtopics you can research for your culminating writing task. You will gain an understanding for the research task expectations, you will break into collaborative groups to begin researching your subtopics, and you will write a thesis statement about your subtopic. Before we begin this lesson, let's look at that culminating writing task prompt. Through reading of the unit text and additional research, you will develop an argument in response to the unit question. Is the dream of homeownership viable for all Americans within a more focused subtopic area? Using information from your reading, you will develop an argumentative thesis supported by a series of evidence-based claims, including at least one counter-argument to an opposing perspective or position. You will organize your thesis, claims, and evidence into a unified, coherent, well-reasoned argument that addresses a specific purpose and audience. Here are our learning targets for this lesson. Can you make a claim about a subtopic relating to housing in America? Can you write a thesis statement? For this lesson, you will need your reading response journal, your culminating task exemplar, your organization reference guide, and the culminating task tool that was posted back in lesson 1.1. Now we're going to review the prompt choices over the next 2 slides. The American Dream. Should homeownership still be an important component of making it in America? Why or why not? The role of government. What role, if any, should government take in relation to supporting homeownership, funding affordable housing, and/or enforcing the Fair Housing Act? Gentrification and displacement. Is the recent trend toward gentrification of American communities a positive or negative thing? How should society deal with the displacement of poor residents from neighborhoods changed by gentrification? Future aspirations. Should you and members of Gen Z, in other words, the post-millennials, aspire to or reject the traditional American dream of homeownership? Why? The dream deferred. Has the expectation of a decent home and a suitable living environment for every American family been a false promise? Should our society take responsibility for the history of discriminatory housing practices that continues to cause disparity of opportunities for people of color? Which prompt appeals to you the most? Which prompt do you already have the most knowledge about? Remember, some of these are almost word for word with previous section diagnostics. And are there any prompts that you have already done research on? In your reading response journal, you are going to write 3 questions you have about the prompts. You will have a conversation with your partner and ask these questions to clarify your understanding of the prompt. As needed, you will ask any unanswered questions to the class to ensure you understand the prompt. As you work through this activity, I want you to think about the following. Which prompt appeals to you the most? Which prompt do you already have the most knowledge about? Are there any prompts you have already done research on? You will have 5 minutes to complete this activity. Before you develop your work, you must first analyze the prompt. To do so, you will access the Culminating Task tool. You will read the Culminating Task prompt and complete the Analyze the Culminating Task prompt section of the Culminating Task tool. You will have 5 minutes to complete this activity. Remember that you will express your understanding you've built throughout the guidebook unit by completing the culminating task. You are going to form a group close to where the prompt is written that you've selected. You are going to read the projected prompt and gather notes and tools you will need to help you respond. You will brainstorm ideas based on the prompt to determine a focus for your essay. You will generate ideas in response to the prompt and write each idea on a sticky note, and you will place the sticky notes around the projected prompt. And basically what you're looking for is which prompt interests you the most. Now you're going to select 2 to 3 categories, and in your reading response journal, record the prompt and the selected categories and ideas. Remember, once you have finished generating ideas, work together to review the sticky notes and organize the notes into different categories based on how the ideas relate to each other. You will want to label each category. You will want to share how the ideas in each category relate to each other and how the categories relate to the prompt and each other. You will have 5 minutes to complete this activity. Now you are going to conduct research to gather additional evidence in preparation for creating your work. You will develop a work plan for conducting research so that you are able to meet the established deadlines. You will develop a system for gathering information, recording notes, documenting your information, and keeping track of and maintaining your work as you conduct research. You will need to locate possible sources for your research, evaluate the sources, and select the sources you will use for your research. You will also gather information from the unit text that you have read throughout the unit. In your reading response journal, you are going to document your sources and that you locate so that you know which sources you've considered, and record notes and comments as you evaluate these sources. And remember, you want to evaluate them for their usefulness. And you will have 20 minutes to locate sources and take notes on your research. Using the provided research materials, you will conduct research to gather additional evidence to support the supporting claims for your work. You will record your evidence and the appropriate citations on the Culminating task tool. You will have 10 minutes to gather additional evidence outside of the unit text for your research. Now you will review the culminating task prompt and the claims you have formed and evidence you have gathered in preparation for the culminating task. You will review the organization reference guide. You will have 10 minutes to complete these activities and make sure that everything is ready to write your thesis statement. Now you will write a thesis statement in your reading response journal. You will need to be sure that your thesis statement addresses the prompt, states your position and presents your supporting claims, and previews the organization of your work. Remember that a thesis statement summarizes your position in response to the culminating task and orients the reader to the organization of your work. You will have 10 minutes to complete this activity. Congratulations! You have completed Section 4, Lesson 1 of the Homeownership Unit. In this lesson, you made a claim about a subtopic relating to housing in America. You also wrote a thesis statement.